Hello and welcome back to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ioana and I am a polyglot and an interpreter. And today we're going to talk about bilingual testing. In particular, we're going to talk about start bilingual testing. But before I start, if you like to be my subscriber, you can do this for $7.99, where you will have access to folders available for subscribers or members only. One folder dedicated to how I provide services, how I go through my interviews, companies that I have worked for, and so on. A special folder dedicated to how to keep your brain in shape, how I do exercise, called Medical Terminology Grill. There is a folder dedicated to interpreters' health and well-being. I believe 3 or 4 folders. I do upload weekly for my members. Actually, at this moment, twice a week. There's a special folder in Russian called Getting Ready with Me for MBCMI in Russian language. Similar folder will be available in English for all of you guys. And for members only, you can subscribe and have access to all those videos. Said that, if you are Spanish-English medical interpreter, you can purchase my training, cardiovascular system, 3 hours and a half in 2 languages, Spanish and English, bilingual training, the most common procedures and terminology that you are going to encounter in cardiovascular system. And then I just launched my online store called Serotonin. You can purchase a product with the positive words, t-shirts, mugs, and so on, clicking on my merchandise. And without further ado, let's start to talk about STAT, so-called language STAT. I do have one of those testings, and I notice I do have several of my clients using the language stat organization to test me. Although when companies test you before they hire you, they do not provide you with the results. If you are a starter as a language provider, if you're an interpreter and you do not have any certifications, I believe that having this test called Language Stat, and the languagestat.com is their website, I do believe that this is a great start for someone that can't afford to buy MBCMI or CCHI. I personally, here in the USA, although I had experience back in Europe, I did start with this test. Also, people are not so sure how well would you speak English in medical. So I did purchase this testing myself. So let's talk a little bit about the type of tests that are available on this testing center, the language stat, so-called. So they are different testings. The most basic ones, and the one that I did, is called communication skill test, and I did the healthcare version. So that was the cheapest test available on their website, and healthcare version include a little bit more of a medical terminology than the regular conversation. So this is a good start. I did the English, Italian, whatever language you do. They do have quite a lot of languages separated in 3 tiers. The most common, the core, and the rares. As you understand, the language separation also means that the price will be different. So I just checked the prices. I believe for this one I paid $120, if I'm not mistaken. So Based on the language separation, the price of bilingual tests will be different, but we're talking about, so I would call it the easiest test or the communication skill test. That was in two languages. First part it was like interview, and then it was interpreting or speaking or trying to see if you can read and understand. They read your text and they try to ask you questions, one part in English and one part in Italian or the target language, to see how well you understand and how well you communicate in the target language. This is the cheapest test if you want to pay it out of packet. Russian 150, Spanish 100, 120. So based on the tier, the test will cost between 100 and 130. Talking about the communication skill, the most common languages, the rare languages cost more. For example, Bulgarian, it was 180, Russian is 150, and so on. So this is for the communication skill test. If you want to do the medical, there is a specific test that is called, let me see how it was called, medical interpreting language skill. Specific test for medical interpreters, it's going to be a bilingual test, very similar to what companies test you. Actually, some of the companies that want to hire me pay stats to test me, and I will tell you maybe 2 or 3 did use this medical interpreting skill test through stat. But what's going on, if a company pay for this test, you don't receive these results, as they call it, report of your results. If a company tests you, you don't have this report, which I do have right here. So I did pay it out of packet this test, and I did had my own results. And when I demonstrate this, most of the companies were ready to hire me for the Italian language. I will tell you, for English I get 89, and for the Italian I get 86.9. So most of the companies that see this kind of results from independent testing body are not even testing you. They're ready to hire you with this. So I believe this is a great opportunity for you, and also compared to MBCMI and CCHI, it's very immediate and really reachable. Medical interpreting test, the second one, specifically for medical interpreter, it costs between 150, 180, and so let's say medium between 130 and 180 based on the different languages. Spanish 130, Arabic is 150, rare languages go up to 180, and so on. So the medical specific test is also something that you can invest in and have those results and use it when you apply for job. I am repeating, I didn't have nothing when I started here in USA 2017. I did this stat test with Italian, and most of the people were ready to hire me with those results. To be honest with you, I was surprised about the Italian result in this test, because I've been speaking Italian only for the past 15 years when I did this test, and not at all English. And I got almost 90% in English and 87 in Italian, which was surprising for me, to be honest with you. So they're kind of severe on the testing. I gotta tell you that. Whoever's check the results. So this is the 2 tests, or the 2 communication skills report of results stats that I would recommend you to do independently. If you are a company, I don't know if there is a companies watching me, but they have a so-called hybrid test combined. This is very specific. If you like to test some of your interpreters for a specific knowledge, you can use stat to do so-called hybrid tests. This is a specific test if I want to test them in cardiology, cardiovascular, I don't know, whatever specifically medical test, I can purchase this. Of course, it's between 230, 270, 330, depends on the language and the specification of the language knowledge you want to test. So that's about the two tests that I think if you are a freelancer, if you're a language provider and you cannot afford the previous training, the CCHI, MBCMI, or the BTG, that are all of them very close to $700-800. It's a lot of money of investment, I understand, and also it takes really long time to make them. But you are convinced of your knowledge, you can do those tests. The communication skill is the one, and the medical interpreter, so-called PCSI test. They're all tests in 2 languages. The communication skill is cheaper. The PCI is specific for medical interpreting testing. Okay, so how do you purchase the test? We already talked about the price. The communication skill test in 2 languages is between 100 and 180 based on the languages. It's different. And the PCI starts from 130 to 180, 90. Once again, depends on the language. So if you check on their website, you could see where it says testing, and this is the 5 or 6 type of tests that you can choose from. I repeat, for you as a freelancer, I recommend the communication skill test, which I did myself when I was starting here in the USA, or the PCI medical interpreting testing. They are very useful and they are financially affordable to you. So if you click on the language combinations, you're not gonna be able to reserve it from there. So you have to click on the type of on testing and then choose the test that you want to do. And then once you go ahead, you can proceed, or you can make the test online clicking on a link, or you can have it live over the phone with 2 proctors, one in English and one in the target language. This is what I actually did. Today, before I did this video, I called the language stat and I speak with Shayla. And Shayla clarified for me that even if you do the online version, there would be still a human grader, which means it doesn't matter which version you're gonna do, there will be an actual human who is gonna grade your result. So when you order the test, you have a space and you can write a notes to put when it's comfortable, when do you like to do it, and so on and so on. If you're gonna do the test version online, you can have it anytime. You just click a link. If you want to have it live on the phone with the proctors, English proctors and the target language proctors, you just have to know that sometimes they need a time to schedule the target language proctor or tester. Sometimes it takes several weeks. I remember that because I remember that it was taking time for the Bulgarian language, and then I end up not doing it. But just if you're gonna do it with live proctors on the phone, it's gonna take some time to schedule them, but they will try to do their best to do it as soon as possible. Said that, once you do the test, usually they will send you the results 5 to 6 business days. They called this results a report of your results. This is not a certification. This is just, for me personally, and for you guys, that would be a tangible proof that you actually can speak both languages. Because yes, I did say in my resume that I speak Italian, and although I was living in Italy for 15 years, that was not credible enough. Having this piece of paper, it was sufficient for a lot of company to hire me as Italian interpreter, because It shows the result. It's a detailed report. For example, listening and comprehension. I have an A in the both languages. I can show you right here. It's very detailed, talking about your skills. For example, for me, terminology recognition, I have C. I'm not so good. I have terminology in Italian, I have A. In English, I have C. Imagine. So it's a very strange. In English, I'm very fluid. I got an A and I got a B in Italian. So it's a very, very detailed how you use grammar, syntaxes, expression, and so on. It's very useful. I guarantee you this is gonna help you. They do have most common languages. I also checked, they do have Arabic, French, German, Bosnian, Serbian, Russian, of course, Bulgarian, Italian, Spanish, French. They have most of the languages. That was about the STAT language bilingual test. We have a communication skill in healthcare and medical interpreter test. If you decide to invest in that, I guarantee you this is going to be useful to you. It was useful to me. If you're just starting and you cannot afford other type of test or certification, this one is useful for you. I am going to leave the link of STAT below. I also want to say thank you to Miss Sheila that before I did this video this morning, I called her. They do respond to their emails. They do respond to the phone number. You can call them. I will tell you from the time that I communicate with them to the time that I did test, it was very fast. Very short, you pay, it's immediate, you schedule the test, you have it, you receive the results within 5 to 6 business days. And you can use it really in your field as a medical interpreter provider. Thank you guys for being here. I hope this video was useful for you. If you want to have a proof of you being bilingual, this is a great opportunity. I appreciate you. And if you have any questions, please write it down below. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.